Alright everyone, welcome back to Mobile Mukbang. I'm Andrew,
Sam, Michael,
and our guest today,
Alan.
Alan, is joining us. So we are at McDonald's, and you might be wondering, why are we at McDonald's? Well, here's the thing. The McDonald's logo is recognized across the world, even more than something like the Christian cross, which is pretty widespread. So that just goes to show how well known McDonald's is. So what we're doing is we're establishing a baseline for food. So what we've done is got a concoction of a number of different things. Now, what I did is I got one of their signature sandwiches, but I kind of customized it a little bit, okay? So essentially I got a crispy chicken sandwich on Swiss, and instead of using their garlic sauce, I asked for mayonnaise, because I'm not really a big fan of the garlic sauce. I got it on one of these brioche artisan buns that they call it. And then with the fries, here's something that a lot of people don't do, is they get their fries normal, and it comes out and it's soggy. I don't like soggy fries, so I asked them to like double the time. It's close to 6 minutes in the fryer at that point, but by doing so, I got a nice crunchy fry instead of a soggy one. Now that's what I did. So
I think they're overdone, but that's just me.
Everyone's got their preferences. So Sam, what did you get?
I actually went with a whole slew of things from the discount menu, and for whatever reason, they happen to be all breakfast and all sausage. So I have a sausage biscuit. I believe that's the one with the egg. No. One of them's supposed to have egg. Whatever. Okay, hold up. Did they mess up my order? They might have.
Classic
whatever.
McDonald's.
So it's a sausage burrito, a sausage McGriddle, and a sausage McMuffin. I think one of them's supposed to have egg. I will work that out. They're on the actual thing. No, wait, hold up. I have to receipt my pocket. It's just this.
Normally it'd be an egg and sausage.
Yeah.
Not sausage.
Yeah, they just gave me a sausage McMuffin instead of sausage and egg. I'm okay with it. I don't need the egg. I have enough eggs.
Okay. So that's what all but you got. Mike, what did you get?
I got McChickens with added mac sauce.
And are you going to make the sandwich that I hope you're going to make? You're not going to make the off-menu item?
No, I don't. Not tonight.
There is an off-menu item that is affectionately known as the McGangbang, which if you haven't heard of it, Google it. It's a real thing, where they take a McDouble and a McChicken, they undo the McDouble into two halves, and they put a McChicken in the middle, put it together, and it's a McGangbang, sometimes also known as a McBitchin. But I digress. One day we'll end up having a bunch of weird off-menu items. Just order all the off-menu items. But Alan, what did you get?
Well, I decided to go with the $1 and the $3 menu. Decided to go with the value, just like our buddy Sam here. Here I have 2 sausage burritos and 2 classic chickens. Now the classic chicken, personally, I've recently acquired a taste for. I really like their buttermilk crispy chicken. It's been a favorite of mine as a sandwich itself.
Now here's the thing. What is the difference between the classic chicken and the buttermilk? Because I get buttermilk on mine.
The buttermilk chicken, in my personal opinion, is a little less seasoned. But it usually uses, as it's indicated in the name, buttermilk in the batter. But as with the regular signature chicken here, we actually use a variety of spices.
If you look at like videos like Super Size Me, there have been a huge amount of changes that have gone on in McDonald's ever since then. Well, the thing is, that was like, what, 20, 30 years ago that video was released? Like, McDonald's has actually made their food a lot healthier, and what they've done is they're really up to their game, because back then, they were still using dark meat in the chicken. They switched over to whole white meat chicken breast fillets. They've got these signature sandwiches that are really good. They are. And at a very competitive price. And quite frankly,
bring back the dark meat.
I did like the
Super Size Me came out in 2004.
2004. Okay,
That's 14 years ago.
14 years ago. Wow. Okay. So I was way off. But the point is, a lot of improvements have been made. And as far as caloric intake goes, this entire meal is around 1,400, maybe 12 to 1,400 calories, which is well within the 2,000 calorie per day diet limit that a lot of places standardize around. The thing is, it's actually really good. Whereas Burger King and Wendy's, what they've done is they have updated their aesthetics. They've renovated a lot of the restaurants, but they haven't done anything in terms of like improving the food. I think they've actually gone backwards because, like Wendy's, you used to be able to get 5 nuggets for $1. Now it's 4, and they're not any better.
Really, they're not. But speaking
you can also get 6, though.
Speaking of the competitors, Burger King has actually taken a stab at McDonald's, believe it or not. They have done their own Big King sandwich, I suppose you can call it. And basically took a stab at the, what is it?
The Big Mac.
The Big Mac.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good, too.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because McDonald's at one point tried to take on the Whopper with the... Oh my gosh, it was before my time. The McDLT or something like that, where it came separated, like one bun was separated from the other to keep the vegetables nice and fresh and not warm compared to the hamburger, which was warm. And then when you wanted to combine it, you closed it up and make the sandwich be more fresh. It didn't make it very far.
But in the same sense...
In America, at least, we have no idea about overseas. Because overseas is a whole different market, and they get whole different things. Just a quick point.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things that have really gone on at McDonald's, but the main reason we're here is because we are trying to establish a baseline. Almost everyone has been to McDonald's at least once in their life, and because of that, it's a great way to kind of establish, okay, this is where we're kind of starting at. Is the food we're going to have from here on out better or worse? Because if it's better than McDonald's, great. Anything can do better than McDonald's if they want to. But if it's worse, that really shows a complete lack of quality on the restaurant's part, if you think about it.
Well, I mean, a lot can go into food besides just quality, though, too. And sometimes there's personal preference that affects that, too.
True. It's all about the balance also of ingredients, too.
Yeah.
All things considered.
That's true, but you can't deny that there's better cuts of chicken out there. There's definitely better spiced versions of breading that you could put on it. Everything is totally subjective. That's why we have multiple people trying multiple things. But the point is, I bet if we were to go around different restaurants and try ordering the same kind of thing, we would find one restaurant that stands out as way better. Like, for instance, like we were talking about in the car, Smash Burger. I would always get their breaded chicken sandwich from there.
Never had it.
They're not around anymore, which is really sad. But holy sweet mother of mercy, they were really, really good. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, the buttermilk crispy chicken sandwich here has gone through several revisions over the last 5 years, ever since they just released the crispy chicken sandwich as a premium menu option here at McDonald's. Mm-hmm. But Smash Burger freaking threw it out of the park with their chicken sandwich.
According to this, there's a Smash Burger in Wheaton, Illinois.
Oh, right by me.
Road trip.
If it's still there, because a lot of them have gone out of business and maybe it just hasn't updated. But if it's still there, we have got to go there because I promise you, their food is so good that I actually went back into the kitchen area and was like, hey, these chefs are awesome. They do such a good job. It is clearly better than this sandwich. But this sandwich being a premium option here at McDonald's is still pretty good. And a lot of people equate McDonald's as being cheap and made of mystery meat or something like that, when it's really just not true. And I'm not just being some sort of shill for McDonald's. They really have upped their game a lot. Because we've been coming to McDonald's ever since we were kids. Yeah. It's for the past 20 years. They've been around forever.
And
you would think
Go ahead. There's actually an anime where the McDonald's has its own anime.
Yeah.
They had their own cartoon. which is a completely different entity. But then there's also another anime that McDonald's isn't named by name, but you know it's McDonald's.
I mean, a lot of animes do that for various things.
Yeah, because it's so easy. Like, you can do things that just barely avoid trademark issues, but everyone knows the golden arches.
Not just that. Sometimes different cultures see things differently. From my understanding, and never being there, but from my understanding, in Japan, it's actually a compliment to, like, borderline plagiarize and reference other cultures or things that have influenced your work. So, like, if they're influenced by McDonald's, however, for whatever the thing is, then throw in a cheap little reference knockoff thing of it. And that's literally paying homage to them at that point.
It's literally imitation is the best form of flattery.
Is the most sincerest form of flattery. Now, here's one thing that McDonald's does and doesn't get right, is the drinks. Yeah, it's $1 free refills and any size is $1, but here's where, when I'm talking about the ingredients, plays a big role, and this is the most apparent. Go to a good sit-down restaurant that actually costs decent money to get in and eat there. You'll notice every one of these fountain systems has their own syrup custom mixed to a certain extent. Better restaurants will have a thicker amount of syrup per water in the drink, you can distinctly discern.
There's 3
the difference
ingredients, not 2.
3, you said.
Go on.
There's the syrup, the water, which they may or may not have actually from the tap. They might, get it filtered or something. Hard to say. Depends on the place. And then there's the carbonation, all of which makes a difference. Mm-hmm. There's some places that I like Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper. I will not ever drink it from a can. And there's a restaurant that escapes me at the moment, but I absolutely hate Dr. Pepper there because they consistently throw too much carbonation in.
Which I agree, because here's what I've noticed. Sorry to cut you off. Okay. Bad sodas will often put a ton of carbonation in there to help distract from their terrible flavor. That's why you see like the low-end brands like Sam's Club sodas or like the Jewel brand sodas, like Super Chill. They all have a high amount of carbonation, whereas restaurants...
I have a silent. Yeah, but it's still vibrating.
Whereas restaurants with... what was I going to say? Now I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Okay.
Where better brands of restaurants or better brands of sodas really have lower amounts of carbonation because they want you to enjoy the flavor.
That's true. Okay, now I remember where I was at. Yeah.
Sam?
So, like, sodas like Sprecher.
Would you like to?
Yes, I'm contacting them.
Sodas like Sprecher and Goose Island, they do beers and stuff, but they also make sodas. So here's the thing. They use very little amounts of carbonation, enough to make it tingle a little, but they also use real ingredients, filtered water, like really, really filtered water, and stuff like that. It really makes a distinction between a good and a bad soda, but between restaurants, you can tell. No, even if you get Coke at every other restaurant, it always tastes different.
Yeah. I was actually about to mention that. What I found, to me, that Coca-Cola and McDonald's, it tastes better than like Burger King and Wendy's. McDonald's has the best Coca-Cola.
Well, you know what I noticed is machines like at Burger King and Wendy's, you know how they got these big machines that you can customize the flavors and this and that? And it's got a touch menu item? Those are terrible when it comes to giving you the correct syrup, because in order to give you those extra things like shots of vanilla and cherry, which they expect you to add, they really skimp on the syrup for the main ingredients of the soda. So really, you have to compensate with the cherry and stuff.
Unless, say, you go to Wendy's and they have their, or the Burger King, where they have their own signature drinks, then the syrup is strong.
Well,
actually, those all depend very much on the individual, because different McDonald's will have different ratios for everything.
That's true.
Because the older systems literally are set by a screw. And because it's set by a screw, over time it wears, and it will literally change by itself. So there's not too much they can do about that. I mean, they can always readjust it, but trust me, minimum wage people aren't being paid for that. So.
That's true. And I might add, McDonald's, sometimes owned by the corporate entity, sometimes owned by a private entity. The private entities have more flexibility with what they participate in, their hours of operation, and the syrup to water ratio.
And carbonation. Yeah, and then as far as those pre-mixed machines, there's one other factor that can affect taste sometimes more than others. And that's the fact that they all end up through the same nozzle. So when I get my orange soda, I'm also tasting your Dr. Pepper that you just filled up, and his Coca-Cola, and your tea with orange shot, or whatever the heck you get.
Or with root beer.
Yeah.
It all really just depends. It also depends on timing as well.
Whether or not they've cleaned like they're supposed to every night.
Well, federal, like legally, they're supposed to clean it every night, but not every place does.
Some places actually aren't able to. One of the previous places I worked at, the nozzle for one of the flavors was stuck on. It took 3 months to finally get it knocked off.
Which
we did our best to clean it by just like splashing the water up there and stuff, but you know it's not the same.
Yeah. No. And another thing is like, okay, we're talking about the issue with machines that multiple selection with the touch menu. A lot of these restaurants like this one still have the individual taps. I got the hiccups now. I think about soda. High carbonation soda gives me the hiccups.
I'm not doing anything, so just hold on to it until the
there's a lot of air in there. I mean, it's not just carbonation that goes into it, it's also the air bubbles that go into it as well.
Well,
some air does it becomes aerated with the mixing process a lot of times, yeah.
Agitation of the surface of a liquid aerates it.
And we got 3, technically. Well, 2 liquids and a gas, but...
Well, and then there's also, like, okay, Speedy Cafe. Huge amount of options for sodas. And their sodas consistently taste better than like something like McDonald's, but a sit-down restaurant, like, let's say something higher than Red Lobster. What's a nicer, fancier restaurant? Like, what's that one restaurant that...
Williamson's?
Their mixture ratios are so much better, and you can just straight up taste it. Like,
oh, absolutely.
That's why when I come to here and there's all these options, I do a mix of all of them. And at one point, it was called something called a suicide, which is not really politically correct anymore. What they call it, they've got a different name for it now. But I get a mix of 3 different things, a few different things depending on what the options are. I mix Coke, Dr. Pepper, and root beer because that's how you get the most amount of syrup. Is what I found. And yeah, okay, you don't have a specific flavor anymore, but you've got flavor.
Flavors at that point.
Yeah, you got a bunch of different flavors now, so it ends up being its own interesting thing.
It also seems as though that the dark colas also have the most syrup put into them. All things considered, anyway.
Also,
the more prominent.
Also, non-carbonated items are real good for that. So, like the high C they have, there's no carbonation there. So literally all you're getting is syrup and water.
That's true. And a lot of it is sugar water. It's like, have you ever noticed the water at McDonald's tastes a little better than water at home? I think it's because there's excess sugar trapped. I do. I swear. There's a difference. It's weird. Okay.
It's like sugar water, but you get the flavor. It tastes like it.
Okay. Well, to be fair, where I'm coming from is I either have well water that I can choose from or RODI water that I can choose from at my house.
And where I'm coming from, all of you seem to miss except Mike somehow. And you guys wouldn't necessarily know is I actually lived off pure sugar water for 3 years. I went through 25 pounds a month. So when he's calling something sugar water, I'm sitting here like,
Well, I would argue that actually that just plays more in my favor than yours because you need a tolerance break in order to start tasting minimal amounts of sugar.
You would think so, except I can't stand the taste of regular water. If you throw one sugar packet in, and I can deal with it. No sugar packets?
I think it's less than taste. It's like sugar residue because, okay, if you look at the water coming out of there, it's coming out of the high C.
That is the other thing to factor for that, though. Is it one of those ones that has a dedicated tap, or is it one that shares a tap? Because that might make a difference.
Okay, well, these big machines have the waters always end up mixed through one funnel with
some of them have a little, they'll have a separate tube that comes out under.
Okay, you're right. Okay, like Subway does that, but over here, it's literally coming out of the same tap as the high C, and the high C is basically sugar water with a little bit of flavor. So I think that's why the McDonald's water is just a little more sweet and tasty.
But also, you got to figure as well. You got to figure as well. Sorry, Sam. That sometimes you get the splashback from the liquids that actually come out. Like if you're dispensing high C, and let's just say there was a separate tap. There is splashback that goes onto the nozzle for that dedicated nozzle. Yeah. It is possible. So it is possible to have that sort of thing still happen with even a dedicated.
Splashback is a lot less predominant with these systems because they're really good at dispensing. So it's like unlike pouring a 2-liter bottle where you got to make sure there's enough air going in to compensate for the water coming out at the same time. So it's not it's like smooth stream. These machines, it's just a solid stream. It comes out perfect each time.
Well, yeah,
but I'm just saying that sodas in general vary from place to place, and I think McDonald's still does it better because although people are allured to that option of, I can mix all these different drinks, there's like thousands of options, technically speaking, and I'm like,
there's thousands of options, like Borderlands has bazillions of guns.
It's one of those situations where you're sacrificing something, and what you're sacrificing is the main syrup flavor. Because there's some of them, it's like, okay, they work like printer cartridges, those machines, where you slide in the cartridge and it has the syrup or the additive like the vanilla flavoring, the vanilla shot or the cherry shot, whatnot.
Technically they're screw-ins and they have straws. But
I've talked to a few people and they said it's a lot like a printer in the sense where you just slide it in and slide it out when it's empty.
Most of them have a bag though.
They're on shelves. That's what you slide. It's not like a clip-in printer cartridge. It's like you slide in the thing to be held and then you screw on a cap to actually get the stuff.
It's kind of like a bag.
You can get them at GFS.
Okay, I mean, I could see like the shot system working like that at like Speedway.
No, that's the actual pops.
In the all-in-one machine, really? Well, someone gave me some weird information, and someone said it was like a printer.
If you look, there's pipes going up the back of those. Those are going to the back where they keep all the pops.
Okay. I mean, I don't see those pipes at Wendy's, though.
That's because they hide them a little bit better.
Well, different places hide them differently. Some run them through the cabinet underneath, some run them up above the ceiling. They're wherever they...
But again, then we're going back to the aesthetic and how, coming back to McDonald's versus the other restaurants, how the aesthetic is. A lot of people change up how they hide their pipes or have it look a little slicker.
And sometimes it matters on building codes that are in different places.
To add to this, there's a good reason to choose a family version or family-owned restaurant McDonald's over corporate. Right now, we are in a corporate location, so almost all corporate locations have their lobby open 24/7, as well as the drive-thru. It makes sense because if they have the drive-thru open, it brings in more customers, different clientele, yada, yada, yada. But the family-owned restaurants can do things differently. For instance, I was at a family-owned restaurant where, I know you went there, and they weren't doing it that day, but I swear to you, just like in Culver's, they would give you a little stand with a number, you place it on your table, and there would be a waiter or a waitress that would bring the food to you. Now, that was nice. The decor was custom and different from the standard corporate setup. But also, there's five specially family-owned or privately owned McDonald's that has live music, candlelight dinner, waiters and waitresses to take your order or give your order to you, and the play place is managed by someone like who runs a daycare, so your kids can play in the play place while you and your spouse or what have you are having a nice romantic dinner at McDonald's. Those places exist, or at least they did at one point, which is the fun thing.
Still do, but they're scarce.
I won't disagree with any of those options because, like you said, all legitimate things that privately owned ones do. There's other things that privately owned places will do. For example, there is a Dairy Queen not too far from here that serves popcorn shrimp. Oddly enough, it is the best popcorn shrimp I have ever had from a fast food place.
Have you ever been to...
Along the same vein, there's a privately owned Dairy Queen that actually made news, like internet news headlines, because they never took anything off the menu. Anything that got added in, they kept. They have the largest menu of any Dairy Queen in the world.
It's interesting. What's that one restaurant that's like fast food seafood? Long John Silver's. How are they still around? Like, okay, you can get a lot of seafood from them comparatively, but it's all garbage. It's like, we're going to get sick from eating this, like, 35-day-old flounder. Is this fugu fries?
Honestly, I used to eat from them all the time, but...
We should make a trip where we go to the worst fast food places. Okay, I know. Okay, so Long John Silver's, White Castle. I'll be shocked. I'll be
Are we really
surprised.
doing?
Like, we're going to get sick every single time. Like, every time I have White Castle, I get terribly sick.
You do. It don't bother me whatsoever.
Well,
Well, you're not human, and you are a bovine. So
Surprisingly, I don't
Us
either.
are human. I think it's you.
Man, I can eat... Okay, maybe I am a little picky.
You can't even have those TV dinners without issues.
That's
To be
true.
fair, I have been buying them, and I have been eating them. I just can't digest corn. We're not going to go into that.
Can.
No one can.
No one can... Why is it a food, then?
You digest the insides of it, the meat of the corn. You don't digest the skin.
So,
Give me skinless corn. Why can't we not GMO that? Corn is GMO anyway. Let's make skinless corn.
but if we make skinless corn, the meat of the corn is not going to stick. Therefore, it's just going to fall off.
We can find a way. This science. Science.
I mean, what do you
I
think
call
cream
no.
corn is?
What?
Oh my god. They mixed cream with corn in a lab. What kind of cream was it, though?
No, like literally, cream corn is just like smushed corn meat with corn.
I mean,
Why do you think my favorite corn is cream corn?
everyone's favorite corn is cream corn. It's not
Not
cream.
mine.
No, not mine.
Not
Okay,
mine.
what's wrong with you people?
Corn on the cob.
Corn on the
He's a
cob?
bovine.
Well, you're the kind of person who would eat a hot dog with a corn on the cob and make everyone sad.
What? What?
I could see you eating a foot-long hot dog, just like... Just eating a hot dog like a piece of corn. And you would make everyone look at you like, oh, there goes this special needs gentleman.
And then all of a sudden, you just hear a typewriter sounds in the background.
It's like your Bugs Bunny. It's like ultimate troll. And you just leave the restaurant with the hot dog there, eating like that, and make people like...
there's just like this tiny
You
little
just
thing.
make people cry at that point.
Everyone, you're making me sad, McPartner. You're making me sad.
You are making people sad. You're making me so sad.
There's the joke about vegetarians that came out ages ago where instead of hot dogs, they just throw carrots on their buns. Have you not seen that?
That sounds terrible. That's like mixing...
That sounds like a Bugs Bunnyism.
No, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like instead of using milk for your cereal, you use water. What kind of sick person does that?
I've seen people use Mountain Dew and Fruit Loops.
Oh...
Why are they called Fruit Loops when they don't taste like fruits? They all have the same flavor.
Yeah, they do, actually.
Actually, well, years ago...
Why do they call them Apple Jacks if they don't taste like apples?
Actually,
They taste
Apple
like
Jacks...
Jacks.
Apple Jacks did used to taste like apples at one point. And
Used
so did,
to.
And then you have Twigs.
Well,
Twigs.
did you remember the commercials for, like, do you want to vote to make sure that the bunny can eat the Trix cereal? And people just vote, like, sent in letters saying, no, I don't want that bunny to eat cereal.
Well, here's the thing, though. We can't really comment on Trix anymore because we're all grown.
And Trix are for kids.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why we can't see the sugary goodness.
But no. Like, as kids, they had shapes. Do you not remember that?
Yeah.
They had shapes to each individual flavor. Now they're just little colored balls.
Yeah.
Shapes?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did.
Sam.
I remember this.
This is
Sam,
like
age gap.
This is like
Yeah, right? Why is it the old people who remember this shit?
why
Because you two, we're the only two that are closest to 30. Well,
this is like the day I found out Santa Claus wasn't real.
This doesn't compare.
I'm so confused.
Well,
now.
maybe the Easter Bunny then.
You said Easter Bunny. I thought you said Yeaster Bunny.
Easter Bunny?
The Yeaster Bunny. This yeast.
so it rises in the oven?
Yes. That's how they make peeps. They get the Yeaster Bunny. It rises in the oven. There you go.
I
There's a new
can
holiday.
to rise.
Have you ever had a peep cookie?
Rising.
That sounds terrible, bro.
Have you guys had peep cookies?
I have.
Peep cookies?
Peeps
Yeah.
are disgusting. They're like the re-gifted disgusting.
No, my mom loves them first off, so
I like them.
Yeah.
Something
and
wrong.
okay
I'm
with
sorry. We all love your mom, but
I like them.
something's wrong.
them. But
You're just
So-
saying that to make me angry.
for your reference, a peep cookie, weirdest thing ever. You take a peep, throw it in the microwave for like 5 seconds. It will expand slightly, and then it just deflates into like this flat pancake thing.
Oh,
That is amazing.
That is the most
It's
sad
hilarious to watch. It's like, whoop.
thing. It makes me sad.
But how do you get it off without having all the sticky marshmallow stuff on the bottom?
Oh no, that's the thing. It's got the sugar coat.
Granted.
So that's why you only leave it in there for a short time. If
Do you
plan
know
on eating
that's
it.
like
If I
saying
remember
that's like
correctly,
saying
it's like 15 seconds.
no, dude. That's like saying I'm gonna get a giant piece of cotton candy and squish it into a softball. That way I can throw it at someone's head and give them a concussion.
You know, I've had somebody do that once.
Of course you have.
Guess who the target was?
Honestly, I always felt really weird.
Sounds terrible. Sounds like it gets
cotton
sticky. It sounds
candy.
like it get all up in your hair.
I did
And you have
it.
to-
It actually stuck to my hair.
Oh,
It
Oh.
stuck to my hair.
I did it at the carnival.
Was it chewing gum flavored?
Yes.
I did it at the.
Even better.
I did it at the circus.
you people are evil. Throwing cotton candy. You know? Okay. You know what's even worse? Okay, buffets are so notoriously dirty because children put their fingers like in a chocolate fountain.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're gonna have to do a part where we go to the buffets and see who doesn't get sick.
I know who that's going to be.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
know.
gonna get sick.
Oh, thank God I have 2 different insurances, so when I eventually go to the hospital, I'm covered.
For now.
Anyway, so okay, we did get off topic for a minute now. McDonald's, really quick. What else? Okay, we've talked about a number of different things here. We've talked about the options. The
You know what I
off-menu
miss
items.
about McDonald's?
What do you miss? Do you miss getting toys from your McDonald's?
I mean, I can still do that.
Do you miss getting the what was
The
the
free ice cream cone.
They still have that on certain days. At
But
certain
only
times
for
of the-
kids.
No, I've gotten it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a grown ass man and I got it.
Well, when I was a kid, you got free ones for jack shit, pretty much.
Well,
Like, they
to
have
be fair,
refill.
like okay, Krispy Kreme did the same thing. But why Krispy Kreme? Why did you go away? Why you're making me sad? Krispy Kreme.
It still exists.
They still
They're
exist.
few and far between. But before they were
Yeah,
like
but they're making a
another super-
comeback.
I hope they do because Dunkin'
are.
Donuts really isn't
I'm-
all that great.
We at my workplace, we make the bags for them to actually their bakeries to make the.
So many minds are
donuts.
being blown right now. I'm losing
No,
all
just
my
yours.
neurons.
I'm just yours.
My neurons are at a low capacity at the moment. I don't know how much more mind blowing I can take.
Your turn, Alan. Blow his mind.
You can't actually divide by -1, -0.
Actually, you can divide by 0.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that didn't blow my mind because I remember we talked about that.
Fair enough.
But
I mean, you can divide
I
by
think-
pi.
Now,
Well-
here's a fun one for you. I've got this. Pi times, what's the times? Yeah, times 13.37, aka leet, equals 42. And some odd change after.
Someone's going to have to fact check this after the words, but
well,
okay.
For that fact checking, it's 42.00 like 12 or something like that.
So isn't the answer to the universe 42?
Yep.
The answer to the universe is 42.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here,
Might have been percent.
international McDonald's. What international things would you like to see? I personally,
Pizza.
I want the little squeeze packets that evenly distribute chocolate and vanilla icing over your fries.
That would be kind of nice.
That's delicious.
Honestly, America's just behind in general on sauce packets.
Yeah, they really are.
We had one. Yeah.
But really,
didn't you have it?
I used to have picante sauce, but
No. You
I had
got-
picante.
Yeah.
On barbecue.
Whatever the heck it is.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Japan is so... Okay, yeah.
So we got these things. They are fat, you tear off a corner, and hopefully you can get it where you need to. There's a different one that looks like a little plastic bucket, and you have the option to peel back one side for a nice easy pour, or you can fold back the other side to have a nice big opening for a dipping sauce.
Yeah, like in Japan, that's how the sauces come. Japan is so far ahead of us. They've somehow beat the obesity epidemic while having McDonald's and having tastier
Actually,
food.
Not only that, guess where the quadruple burgers came from?
Was it
And
Japan?
still are.
Was it from...
Yes.
It was from Japan.
Japan's got the weirdest stuff, but I remember...
I mean, they also have sushi at the McDonald's, so...
Whoa. But I do remember the black chicken burger from Burger King.
That turned
You
everyone's
had it?
poop green, wasn't it?
Yeah. He found out the hard way that he was probed by an alien. But the point is, that's where a lot of this weird stuff comes from. I would love to see more international stuff. Like the French McDonald's has a few different things. But you notice a few things actually gone away from the menu, like the McWraps.
I have
McWraps
noticed
are
that.
gone. Those were really good.
I actually got a McWrap once. I only got it one time.
Yeah.
It was like a chicken Caesar wrap, I think it was.
Yeah,
It was
I had
really...
They use really fresh
the
lettuce. They use
chicken bacon.
Yeah, the crispy chicken bacon with the really fresh lettuce, and I always got honey mustard on it. Perfect. I make them at home now, but they don't make them. They don't sell them anymore in any restaurants and McDonald's near here.
And it's kind of sad, too, because it's like...
Actually, there's some private-owned ones that'll still do it.
Like, if we can find one, I would actually like to get one, because those were actually really good. Which really stinks, because there's a lot of good ideas that McDonald's passes up. Like, realize how long it took them to figure out, okay, they knew all-day breakfast menu was good, a good idea. They just took them forever to implement it. And even now, there's certain places where you can't get anything on a breakfast menu that has, like, a bagel all day, which really makes me sad, because I would want the bacon, egg, and cheese bagel.
Like the one by my house on Jefferson, for the longest time they didn't do hash browns for breakfast, for all-day breakfast.
Oh, that is a disappointment. Like, we can go up right now, $1 for 2 hash browns.
Yeah.
I might do that. I like the hash browns.
Yeah, no, or like, they actually have mozzarella sticks at McDonald's, but they don't advertise it.
That's true. I remember at one point.
Wait,
No,
do they seriously still do that?
Yeah, some of them. The
For
one
the
on
Super
Jefferson
Bowl
does.
last year, they had chicken
it really?
wings.
I
I
think they might actually do something special for this Super Bowl this year.
Like,
Will they?
I think you missed what myself and Mike said. Is the one on Jefferson, I think, still does mozzarella sticks.
No kidding.
I remember those, but I also remember the chicken wings for the Super Bowl last year. I remember that.
Actually, here's a fun one for you as soon as you're done.
I also just want to point out, who has ever legitimately, legally won, a high-priced McDonald's Monopoly thing?
No idea. But,
Every year we play it, no one wins.
well, no one we know, at least.
I've gotten,
They don't advertise
I
those
think, the
people like,
$10
the lottery
prize.
does.
No?
But,
That was the highest I've gone. I've gotten the $10 prize.
I won $100.
I've
That was
won
back when it
free
first
fries.
came out.
I convinced them to swap over to a hash brown. That
I had
was
to
my
get
win.
I won $100.
Honestly, I probably
Well,
got the
I had
best
to
one,
give-
but I don't remember it.
I had to get
My
the
mom used
tickets
work
to
at
my dad
McDonald's,
so I could get the $100.
Oh.
But
Because I was
no,
15 at the time.
That's the worst.
The
I think that
chicken
was back when
tenders that Taco
the
Bell had.
Monopoly came out.
Was it chicken tenders? Yeah, chicken tenders.
Yeah,
Taco Bell had chicken tenders for a while.
But Taco Bell's got fries now too.
Yeah, I saw that. They got part of the reason why they got rid of the chicken tenders was because they weren't making money, not because of the profit margin on them, but because the employees were snacking on them so hard.
Dude, like, okay, to be fair, the employees that work at Taco Bell, they take hunger-enhancing substances sometimes. So,
Hunger-enhancing substances. Would you care to elaborate or no?
It's
No.
legal.
Okay.
no, but anywho, that's where
Anyway.
we're gonna end this whole entire thing. Thanks you everyone for watching.
Bye-bye.
Hold on, we gotta do our
But it's
natural thing.
empty.
It's fine. It's
Rush to refills.
no. Cheers and goodbye.